moment of truth is here, I suppose. Um, if I'm pausing a lot in this video, it's because it's a very difficult video to make, because I have tried to plan this out as best as I can. I've tried to weigh the possibilities of doing like a really, really long video as opposed to doing a very, very small video. And I've decided on doing a small video, so I hope that this is a short video. As you all might know, I cannot shut up sometimes, so I apologize if I run over time, but I do intend to make this a short video. And from the beginning, since I released my first video, which is about 50 minutes long, I have tried to make this as concise as possible, and I intend for it to be that way. If you would like to listen to a long story of my journey with Islam, please do check out my podcast with Outford Podcast. I'm currently a co-host there, but my first interview was when Cole just interviewed me. But I intend, like I said, I intend for this to be a short video. So many people have speculated on why I left Islam. Many people have made their assumptions and have tried to debunk me on the assumptions that they have made. First of all, it's unfair to do that because you don't know who I am and you don't get to judge me for something you clearly don't understand and don't know. Second of all, I have a very legitimate reason for leaving Islam, but why should anyone need a reason to leave religion? People leave religion all the time from other communities, from Christianity, from Hinduism, from, you know, all these different things. And for some reason, when you're a Muslim and you leave, you have to have some super philosophical, super good reason for leaving. And people have speculated that I've left because my family was abusive and I blame Islam for that. People have speculated that I left because I didn't fully understand the religion. People left because I wasn't a Muslim in the first place. And people have said that I'm a fake ex-Muslim and I'm actually a Muslim who just wants attention. First of all, Islam is pretty strict on the fact that if you pretend to be a kafir, even in a joking manner, you have already left Islam. You have completely gone outside the fold because Islam is not something you can joke about in Islam. And secondly, I will tell you why I left. I do come from an abusive background. My family was very abusive to me in a physical and emotional way, but I have never truly left, like stopped believing because of that. My family, my father, for example, has been abusive my whole life. I have still religiously believed in Islam up until 2017, even despite that. So it is not a reason for my leaving. I left Islam after I had left my father's home, but I was still a believer about 2 years afterwards. I left in 2015 from my father's home, and I left Islam in 2017. So it definitely wasn't the abuse and how the abuse affected me that made me leave. It wasn't that, because I was still a believer. I still prayed 5 times a day. I still fasted. I still believed in a God who sent down a final messenger who gave us this message. Yeah, so that wasn't the reason, for those of you who keep saying that. I am not a super sciencey person. I don't trophy science, so it wasn't because of the scientific inconsistencies that do exist in the Quran. That's not the reason for why I left. The reason I truly left, was because qadar, or predestination, is in Islam. It is understood that God knows everything you're going to do from the day you were born to the day you die. God knows everything, but you still have a free choice. So that never made sense to me. It still continues to not make sense to me. I have watched many lectures on it. I have had people try to explain it to me, and I don't understand it. Because if God knows that I, for example, am going to hell, then why would he make me? What kind of cruel, sick bastard makes something and then knows where they're going to go, how they're going to be, knows every single flaw and facilitates that flaw and then punishes his creation for that flaw? What kind of sick bastard does that? And, you know, throughout my Muslimness, throughout my Islamness, throughout being a Muslim, we have always been told that God is merciful. A merciful God does not create evil, and Allah did that, according to Islam. Allah created a jinn called Iblis, knew that he was going to be the end of human innocence, and he still created it. And he has damned that creation, whom he created and knew was going to do that, to hell. And for some reason, that is Iblis's fault, not the one who made Iblis with that flaw, who knowingly knew that that was going to happen. And from that, from qadr breaking down in my mind, from me not accepting it as a pillar of faith, which it is in Islam, from Sunni Islam, Qadr is one of the 6 pillars of faith. You have to believe in it. For me, breaking from that and refusing to believe, it broke down into an idea of God that was no longer all-loving and all-forgiving. He is not an all-loving, all-forgiving God. He is a God who wants slaves, but for some reason decided not to create slaves. He decided to create free-thinking creatures who chose to be slaves, who chose to live in their Stockholm syndrome or burn in the hereafter forever. So it went from there. It went from Qadr to a concept of God to the hereafter. Hereafter, Qiyamah, the afterlife, all of that stuff you have to believe in to be a Muslim. It is a pillar of faith. And I could not accept hell. I could not accept hell as a viable punishment for any human being ever. Ever. Hitler does not deserve hell. Yes, Hitler killed many, many people, and maybe he deserves to be killed as many times as he killed those people in the same manner as he killed those people. But he does not deserve eternal punishment. Eternal punishment is forever. And people like to say that God's justice is the only true justice. No, it isn't. Because God's morality is all based around worshipping him. Nobody does anything good except if it's in the hope that God will accept it. If your morality dictated that you find a baby and you kill it so it pleases God, it would be good in your eyes. If that was your morality, if that was written in your book, you would do it. Because you would consider it good. Because God would be pleased with you. When you ask for forgiveness, it's not because you did something bad. It was because it displeased the big daddy in the sky. And I hate that. I hate that form of morality that is completely based around pleasing something higher than you. Because nothing matters to you except that thing. And that was my whole life revolved around Islam. My fear of death and my fear of being burned in the hereafter and my true fear of displeasing someone who quote-unquote cared and loved me when he created all these people who the majority of them are going to burn. And he knew they were going to burn and he still made them. That is my reason for leaving. Because we, as human beings, cannot stand oppression from other human beings. But for some reason, for some God-forsaken reason, we accept oppression from a deity that honestly we should probably be fighting against if he does exist. We should probably be finding a way to destroy if he does exist. I cannot accept a God that creates something just to watch it burn forever. Because God sees everything as well. Right? I made this analogy in the Outfold podcast, which you should listen to, 100%. But it is the equivalent. It is the equivalent of a mother giving birth to a child and then roasting that child until it died forever. Yeah, this is worse. Like, roasting that child until it died because that child refused to accept that she existed. Or loving someone else in alliance with her. It is the equivalent of that. Not even the equivalent. It's worse than that because God will punish you forever, indefinitely, for eternity. What kind of loving... And in Islam, God is supposed to be this person who loves you more than your mother. 40 times more, 100 times more, 1,000 million, floppity jillion times more than your mother. But your mother, who loves you and cares for you and raises you from when you were a child, carries you for 9 months, never wants to see you in pain, would never burn you alive. But God will, because he loves you so much more. How does that make any sense? Explain that to me. Explain to me how hellfire is a just punishment for anyone. I challenge anybody to tell me how that's fair. How that is fair. That is why I left Islam. If you don't like it, you don't have to. I don't want you to. I am not here to steal your religion. I am here to share my experiences and normalize the experience of leaving Islam. Every other religion gets a pass. People convert to Islam, they are praised forever, praised eternally. They get their own videos. They get the praise from the mosque. They get welcomed by a community. People leave Islam. People completely forget that you're a human being. People dehumanize you and abuse you in ways that they wouldn't abuse their worst enemy. It is enough. It is enough. We have had enough, and we want it to end. You cannot control our thoughts. You cannot police our thoughts. We are people and we demand to be treated like people. We are family and we demand to be treated like family. End of story. End of story. Goodbye, and I know I have over 100 questions from you from Twitter. Thank you, Ali Dawah, for getting me to reach over 1,000 followers on Twitter. I will come for you when you want to come along and harass another woman online. Your arrogance is above, if there is a God, bitch, I fear for you. because you are wearing that God's cloak that you worship. You are a prideful motherfucker, and I don't like you, and I didn't even like you when I was a Muslim, because I hated how you treated people, and I hated the way you looked down on people. So if you want to talk, I'm free to talk. Come talk. Because you seem more inclined to just be right than actually find any answers. This is my video. It is currently 13 minutes. I'll speed it up a little bit so that it's not 13 minutes. And I will see you in the next few videos where I will be answering your questions. Hopefully I'll pepper in a few other things, maybe do a makeup video. I don't fucking know yet, but that's what I'm going to be doing. This is my life. It's not the only thing I want to do, but people keep fucking harassing me for this one aspect of who I am that I feel compelled to do this now. So, thank you for those who support me. Thank you to those who harass me. You give me great content all the time. And thank you everyone else who just wants to live peacefully, because that's all I want to do. I just want a life and live peacefully. Thank you. Love you. See you in the next one. Goodbye.